What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for September 12th, 2023. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. It is Tuesday. It is time for a little bit of motivation / positivity, and going to shift gears a little bit and just kind of vent for a little bit, especially after what yesterday and what it represents. I've kind of talked about a couple times on here just the importance of being able to just, especially for guys, to express like just emotion and what you're thinking and being in touch and in tune with what's going on to just help you be a better person. And I did not expect to get as emotional as I did yesterday a couple times regarding 9/11 as well as my son's birthday. And I think, ironically enough, like I don't know if I'll ever get over what happened that day, and everybody will always remember where they were and what was going on when they found out. And ironically, it was a Philly sports based tie-in for me. It was a day after our first Eagles game with season tickets. They lost to the Rams. No big surprise, but it was a decent game, and we could tell the trajectories of the two teams or whatever. And there's a Rams fan on the back page of the Daily News. I was working at Clemens at the time. I was in seafood, was over talking with the guys in produce, and just kind of bullshit and telling the story about in the 700 level, there's a Rams fan that was trying to go in the exit for the bathroom. I was trying to give him a heads up. I was like, hey, man, if I were you, I wouldn't go in that way. And basically he said, F off, and well, that's what he said. So, of course, he goes into the bathroom and just talking trash to everybody. Everybody's giving him shit. And I was like, hey, everybody, this guy said, F me, and that Eagles fans suck. And basically, some dude flipped his hat off, and then I kind of left. I was like, this is not going to end well. Again, I'll preface it with I was very young at the time, so we'll kind of leave it at that. But there was a guy that got beat up in the parking lot or something, and they were like laughing at me saying, oh, is this the guy that you did? When one of the guys came over and basically it was like, hey, some nut job just flew a plane into the World Trade Center. We're like, what? So we kind of were just watching and listening, and then as the day got on and basically you found out what was happening and things like that, it just a moment I'll never forget. And again, just getting emotional about that. And then with my son's birthday, I mean, obviously that is the ray of sunshine on like an otherwise just gray, sad day. And I'll be forever grateful. I feel like there's things that happen in the universe, and not getting religious or anything because I don't want to go down that road, but the universe puts things and does things for you, and things happen for a specific reason. And I feel as though my son being born on 9/11, knowing just kind of, I guess, how I felt. One of my roommates, good friend of mine at the time, was working for one of the investment companies that were based out of the World Trade Center. And I never forget coming home from work that day, and he was just like, Jimbo, I should have been there. And because he screwed around and missed his deadline for his Series 7 or whatever, he was like in a different training class, or else he would have been right there in one of the impact floors. So, I mean, I'm getting chills just thinking about it now. So I do feel the universe gives you and comes around and does things for specific reasons. And I think my son being born on 9/11, while for most people it is a sad day, for me it will always have a tang of sadness in it. That to me, and being a parent, is one of the greatest things ever. I don't have to tell a lot of you guys that, but and I don't even know if this is motivation or positivity or anything, just something that I needed to kind of get out there, get off my chest, and sort of put out there and just say, like, talk about things. And it's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to feel emotions. I mean, we were giving my son lesson on etiquette for birthday presents because he got a card and there was nothing in it, and he was disappointed, and went on to talk about how I would love to be able to, and I'm tearing up and getting emotional thinking about it now as I did last night, but like one of the greatest things ever was my grandmom. I knew every birthday, Christmas or whatever, she wasn't giving me a present, especially when I got older, but like I still have all of those cards in a file, and I would love to be able to get a card from her. So All of that, hopefully you get something out of that today. But the main takeaway here is don't be afraid to be vulnerable. Get things out. Don't talk to somebody. I'm here if you need to vent or talk. Yesterday was just a tough day. It always will be a tough day. So if you do need anything or need help, let me know. But again, that's hopefully you get something for motivation and you can turn this into a positive or something. But thanks for just listening to me to vent for a little bit. All right, Eagles update. Nakobe Dean, not good, has a foot injury, is going to miss a few weeks. I do think James Bradbury is also in the concussion protocol. They did pick up a linebacker to the practice squad, Rashaan Evans, who was played for the Titans, former first-round pick. Hopefully will provide some depth. I don't know. Hopefully it's just a quick I think they said 4-week injury for Dean. Before of all that, what I was going to talk about was Nick Sirianni in his post-game press conference basically said he's going to reevaluate what he did in the preseason because, as I mentioned yesterday, and I've talked to a couple people since then, it just seemed as though the team was just moving in slow motion and not as crisp as they should be. And it's not just the Eagles. If you look around the league and everything that happened, the teams that played some of their starters more in the preseason were the ones that came out better prepared. Look no further than the Lions against Kansas City. Look at even the Jets last night. Even though Rodgers got hurt, like they were playing starters more. So I think it's worth, I guess, revisiting what's going to happen moving forward in the preseason. But, I mean, you could tell the teams that really played their starters looked better than the teams that didn't. So, obviously, there are some exceptions. Also, just wanted to mention, too, got a lot of comments about the game yesterday as far as what the biggest takeaway was. And for the most part, most people said ugly wins count just the same as the pretty ones. There were a couple people who just said it doesn't matter. You just keep winning, move on, and go. So keep those comments coming in. And one person actually did bring up last year's opening game, too, against Detroit. They didn't really look they looked a little bit better on offense, but defensively they didn't look so hot, and they were able to turn it around, too. So no need to panic yet. They did get the win. Short week. We'll talk more about Minnesota starting tomorrow. But if you do want to get your Eagles gear, go to phillygoat.com. They have a ton of new stuff all the time, it seems, but they have a good Kelly Green selection, hats, hoodies, T-shirts, stickers, whatever you want. Go check them out for all your Eagles needs, and don't forget to stock up on some Phillies playoff run gear as well. phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. All right, Phillies. It could have been worse. Could have been better. It's the second time now they've blown a clutch home run by Bryce in extra innings. Lost game 1 10-8 after battling back. Bryce tied the game in the bottom of the ninth. And just a tough, heartbreaking loss. And I'm starting to get more concerned now about this rotation. Walker has not looked good. I guess the takeaway is that he did kind of do this earlier in the season, then all of a sudden went on a tear. So maybe that he's this close to turning around and going on a tear. Maybe it's just wishful thinking on my part. They did come back with some good hitting in Game 2, winning 7-5, so they split. Lorenzen didn't look that bad. Currently in the standings, they're up 1.5 games on the Cubs, 3.5 total. I mean, the Braves are a good team. I do think that getting a split with them in a doubleheader is good. Holding them to 5 runs in the second game actually is pretty decent, too. I mean, that offense is explosive, and in order to beat the Braves, you're going to have to put up some runs. So hopefully, I want to see at least one more game. Like, if they can split this series against the Braves, I mean, I would love for them to take the next 2. And if they take the next 2, they're right where we I kind of wanted them to be. So we'll see what happens from there. What more Phillies coverage, go check out 2008 Phils. I've been telling you about it. The link is in the description. 75% off your subscription gets you access to everything. That 2008 banner t-shirt. 2008 Phils will follow your Twitter account, and you also get access to giveaways, autographs, tickets, and those types of things. So go check out the link in the description for your 75% off subscription. So Sixers news, not really Sixers, but NBA news, and I'm anxious to see how this actually impacts the Sixers because they do like to give Joe a lot of rest, and ultimately if Harden plays, he would qualify under this as well. The Sixers team, or not just the Sixers, teams in general, will get fines for setting two players on the same night and for primetime games. I don't know if this is official or it's set to be voted on, but they're really trying to make it more beneficial for the fans because I told my story. We went down and found out when we were halfway down 76 that Embiid was not playing for the game that we bought tickets for my kids to see Joel Embiid. So I don't know. I'll get more into this. This might be a better Back to the Future topic. Didn't really have time to really think about it, but I mean, as a fan, I like it. As a fan who goes to games, but I don't know. We'll get more into that, but let me know what you think about the load management proposal. But today, we're going to go back to 1958. And on this day, back in 1958, the Phillies lost both games of a doubleheader to the San Francisco Giants at Connie Mack Stadium. They lost Game 1 5-2. Game 2, 19-2. The big story, though, was in Game 2, relief pitcher Hank the Pistol Mason came in the second inning after the Phillies were already trailing 8-0. But he pitched 5 innings, gave up 7 runs, 7 hits, 3 strikeouts. But this was significant because he was the first black pitcher in Phillies history. So in 1958, he became the first black pitcher to pitch for the Phillies, pitched those 5 innings. He only pitched 4 games total for the Phils. He ended up pitching a couple games in 1960 as well. But he was a solid pitcher in the minors and pretty good player in the Negro Leagues as well. So on this day, back in 1958, Hank Pistol Mason made his debut for the Phillies, becoming the first black pitcher in Phillies history. Other than that, the game was dreadful. Both games were dreadful for the Phillies, losing both games of that doubleheader, 5-2 and 19-2. So, not a good day for the Phils, but kudos to Hank Pistol Mason. All right, time for Who Wore It Best. Number 31 was closer than what I thought. We had 3 very good quality candidates. We had Wilbert Montgomery, Pelly Lindbergh, and Gary Maddox. It was Wilbert Montgomery coming in with 70% of the vote for wearing it best. So Wilbert Montgomery is our number 31 of choice. And if you wanted to know who I'd vote for, no, it would not have been Wilbert. It would have been Gary Maddox, despite the fact that I used to tell people he was my cousin. All right, today is number 7, and currently in Philly, number 7 is Trey Turner and Hassan Reddick, 2 very, very good players who, if we did this in a few years, could be on this list. Other notable number 7s, Mariano Duncan, Pedro Feliz, Maikel Franco, Sean Landetta, Jeff Garcia, Sam Bradford, Tony Kukoc, and Plymouth Whitemarsh High's own Johnny Salmons. But today, it's all about 3 guys, 2 Eagles and 1 Flyer. I could not decide, and I know this one could definitely fall upon generational lines. Could not decide between these 2 quarterbacks, so I'm going to put them both out there. Michael Vick, who played 5 years for the Eagles, had an MVP-type season in 2010. Ron Jaworski, who played 10 years for the Eagles, took them to the club's first Super Bowl. Still a local legend with golf courses, one of the hardest working men in NFL films, preview, film breakdown, whatever you want to call it. And finally, Bill Barber, the Hall of Famer of the group, and his number 7 is retired by the Flyers. Played 12 seasons for the Flyers, winning 2 Stanley Cups. Also had a run as the head coach of the Flyers as well. So now you tell me, who wore number 7 the best? Was it Mike Vick, Ron Jaworski, or Bill Barber? Get those votes into me however you can. On this day in 1958, Hank Pistol Mason became the first black pitcher in Phillies history, despite the fact that the Phillies lost both games of the doubleheader to the San Francisco Giants. Let me know what you think of the Sixers' load management. Phil's in action against the Braves tonight. It's going to be a playoff atmosphere rocking down there at the bank. So looking forward to that. Be sure to check out Philly Goat. Let me know also what you think about Nick Sirianni's comments about the preseason. Should he have played the starters more? Or do you think that now that they got the win, they'll be back and they'll be good to go on Thursday? But let me know what you think. And again, thanks for listening to my rant at the beginning. Sometimes I think it's just good to have someone listen to you. So I do apologize if that bore you. But especially as men, I think sometimes it's important for us to be able to get what we're thinking and what we're feeling out there. So don't hesitate if you need someone to talk to reach out to me. I'll lend an ear for you to just BS to. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Tuesday. Go Phils. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.